Hey everyone, Mr. Lemon here. You know how things move lightning fast in the AI world, right? Well, buckle up because the Midjourney buzz is kicking into high gear again. There's talk, there are whispers, and maybe even some early glimpses of Midjourney V7. Now, is it fully out? Is it beta? Details are still emerging, but the big question everyone's asking is, how much better is it? What's actually different compared to the V6 we've all been using? Well, guess what? We're not just going to talk about it, we're going to look at it. I ran the exact same 20 prompts through both Midjourney V6 and the new V7. We've got the images side by side, ready to compare. So, yeah, today we're diving deep. We'll go through these prompts, look at the results from V6 and V7, and see what improvements, changes, or stylistic shifts we can spot. Is V7 a minor tweak or a major leap? Let's find out. Stick around. Alright, the setup is simple. 20 identical prompts, one set generated with V6, one set with V7. I've got them all lined up. We're going to look at things like realism, how well it follows the prompt, artistic styles, details, maybe even those weird little glitches Midjourney sometimes throws in. Let's kick things off with Photorealism and Detail. These prompts are designed to push the realism engine. First up, prompt 1, photorealistic close-up portrait of an elderly fisherman. Here's the V6 result. Pretty good, nice detail. And here is V7. Whoa. Okay, now side by side. What do you see? V7 has noticeably more refined skin texture. Those wrinkles look incredibly lifelike. The eyes in V7 have a deeper, more realistic wetness and reflection. The lighting feels softer and more natural in V7 too. A clear step up in realism here. Next, prompt 2, macro photograph of a dewdrop on a vibrant green leaf. V6 gives us this. Nice macro feel, some reflection, and V7 gives us this. Look at that clarity. Side by side again. V7 really nails the macro aspect. The dewdrop itself is much sharper. The reflection inside is more defined, and you can see finer details and texture on the leaf surface. V6 is good, but V7 feels more like a high-quality macro shot. Let's look at the ramen bowl. Prompt 3, a hyper-realistic bowl of ramen noodles. V6 version. Looks tasty? Steam is there. Version 7. Hyper-real indeed, side by side. V7 takes hyper-realistic more seriously. The broth has a more complex, oily glisten. The textures on the egg and pork look more detailed, and the steam feels more naturally integrated and less like a simple overlay. Even the bowl texture looks more defined in V7. Moving to the muscle car, prompt 4, detailed photograph of a classic muscle car parked on wet asphalt. Here's V6. Cool car, neon lights, and here's V7. Check out those reflections, side by side. Both are good, but V7 handles the complex lighting interaction better. The reflections of the neon lights on the wet asphalt and the car's polished surface are much clearer and more realistic in V7. The car paint itself seems to have a deeper shine. Last one for pure realism, the astronaut, prompt 5. An astronaut floating in space. V6 take. Dramatic, nice Earth reflection. V7 take. Wow, the detail. Side by side. V7 shows a significant jump in detail here. The reflection of Earth in the visor is much sharper and more complex. The textures on the suit, the small components, are rendered with higher fidelity. The background nebula also feels richer in V7. Okay, now let's test artistic styles. How well do V6 and V7 capture specific art vibes? Prompt 6, Impressionism, a bustling Parisian street scene in the style of Impressionism. V6 Impressionism. Definitely has the feel, maybe a bit illustrative. V7 Impressionism. Yeah, that feels more like paint. Side by side. V7 seems to capture the texture of Impressionism better. The brushstrokes feel more distinct and less blended than V6. The way light is handled feels looser and more characteristic of the style in the V7 image. Prompt 7. Studio Ghibli style. A mystical forest landscape painted in the style of Studio Ghibli. V6 Ghibli. Cute. Definitely Ghibli-esque. V7 Ghibli. Oh, that lighting is classic Ghibli. Side by side. Both capture the style, but V7 nails the soft, slightly nostalgic lighting and atmosphere that's so iconic of Ghibli films. The V7 image feels a bit warmer and more painterly, closer to the source material's feel. Prompt 8. Anime Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk cityscape illustration in a detailed anime style. V6 Anime City. Good cyberpunk vibe. Anime elements are there. V7 Anime City. Sharper lines, more dynamic, side by side. V7 leans harder into the anime part of the prompt. The line work looks cleaner, more like traditional cell animation line work, while still keeping the dense detail of cyberpunk. The V7 composition also feels a bit more dynamic. Prompt 9. Dark fantasy comic. A medieval knight facing a dragon. Illustration in the style of a dark fantasy comic book cover. V6 Knight vs. Dragon. Dramatic scene, comic style is present. V7 Knight vs. Dragon. Wow, that ink work. Side by side. V7 absolutely crushes the dark fantasy comic book cover style. Look at the heavy blacks, the hatching, inking style. It feels much more authentic to artists like Mike Mignola or classic fantasy comics than the V6 version, which is good but less stylistically specific. Prompt 10. Abstract art. Geometric abstract art representing the concept of chaos and order. V6 abstract. Interesting shapes and colors. V7 abstract. More complex interplay here, side by side. This is subjective, but V7 seems to create a more intricate relationship between the geometric elements. There's a clearer sense of contrasting elements, perhaps representing the chaos and order concept more directly through its structure, compared to V6's more uniform pattern. Now, for some complex prompts. These test how well Midjourney understands multiple elements and relationships in the scene. Prompt 11. The cool cat. A small, fluffy white cat wearing tiny round sunglasses and a miniature straw hat. V6 cool cat. Got the cat, got the glasses, hat is kinda there. V7 cool cat. Perfect. Cat, sunglasses, hat, all clear. Side by side. V7 shows much better prompt adherence here. It clearly understood and rendered the cat wearing both the sunglasses and the straw hat accurately. V6 struggled a bit more with combining all elements correctly. Big improvement in understanding complex instructions. Prompt 12. The mixed fruit. 3 different types of fruit. A realistic apple, a stylized cartoon banana, a wireframe orange. V6 fruit mix. Got 3 fruits, but the styles are messy. Apple is okay, banana isn't very cartoony, orange isn't wireframe. V7 fruit mix. Yes, look at that. Side by side. Huge difference. V7 correctly interpreted and rendered all 3 distinct styles. A properly realistic apple, a clearly stylized cartoon banana, and a perfect wireframe orange, all together. V6 completely missed the style cues. This shows a massive leap in V7's ability to differentiate and apply styles within a single image based on text. Prompt 13. The cozy bookstore cafe. Interior view of a cozy, cluttered bookstore cafe. V6 bookstore. Cozy vibe, lots of books. V7 bookstore. Feels more lived in and detailed. Side by side. V7 creates a richer, more coherent scene. The clutter feels more natural and detailed. The lighting seems warmer and more inviting, cozy. And elements like the person reading and the rain outside are often integrated more seamlessly than in V6. Prompt 14, the Phoenix, a majestic phoenix rising from ashes, rendered with fiery particles. V6 Phoenix. Fiery bird looks cool. V7 Phoenix. That's majestic. The particles, side by side. V7 renders the fiery particles and glowing embers with much more complexity and dynamism. The fire effect feels less like a simple overlay and more like an integral part of the phoenix. The overall image in V7 often feels grander and more majestic as requested. Prompt 15. The surreal teacup. A surreal scene, a giant teacup floating in a calm ocean at sunset. V6 teacup. Got the teacup in the ocean. Sunset is there. V7 teacup. Better scale, better atmosphere. Side by side. V7 handles the surreal scale difference, giant cup, tiny boat, more effectively, and integrates the elements more smoothly. The sunset lighting and atmosphere also tend to be richer and more evocative in the V7 version, enhancing the surreal mood. Finally, let's look at a few prompts focusing on specific elements and nuances. Prompt 16, the clockwork. Close-up shot focusing on intricate clockwork gears moving. V6 clockwork. Detailed gears looks metallic. V7 clockwork. Super sharp, intricate detail, side by side. V7 delivers significantly more intricate detail. The edges of the gears are sharper, the metallic textures, brass, steel, look more distinct. And the sense of complex interlocking parts is much stronger than in V6. A real win for fine detail rendering in V7. Prompt 17, the chef. A chef expertly tossing vegetables in a flaming wok pan. V6 chef. Action shot got the flames. V7 chef. More motion, better fire, side by side. V7 captures the motion and energy much better. The motion blur on the vegetables feels more natural, and the flames look more intense and realistic, less like a static effect. The overall scene feels more dynamic in V7. Prompt 18, the rose in ice. A single red rose encased in a block of clear ice. V6 iced rose. Rose in ice, some bubbles visible. V7 iced rose. Look at the ice clarity and refractions. Side by side. V7 renders the ice with far greater realism. The clarity, the internal refractions, the way light passes through, and the small bubbles or imperfections within the ice block look much more convincing. The rose inside also often looks more naturally embedded. Prompt 19, the fantasy map illustration, aged parchment texture. V6 map. Looks like a map, parchment texture is okay. V7 map. Richer details, better texture, side by side. V7 provides a more detailed and aesthetically pleasing map. The aged parchment texture looks more authentic. The line work for coastlines and mountains is often finer, and the overall hand-drawn style feels more refined compared to V6. And prompt 20, the underwater city. Wide-angle shot of a futuristic, bioluminescent underwater city. V6 underwater. Underwater city, some glowing bits. V7 underwater. Wow, the scale and light are amazing. Side by side. V7 creates a much more impressive and coherent underwater scene. The bioluminescence is more vibrant and integrated into the structures. The sense of scale feels grander, and the deep-sea atmosphere with strange fish feels more fully realized than in the V6 version. Wow, okay. So, after looking through all 20 pairs, what are the big takeaways? Based on these examples, it looks like V7 is a significant upgrade. Dramatically better prompt understanding and adherence, especially for complex prompts with multiple distinct elements or styles, like we saw with the mixed style fruit and the cat with accessories. This is maybe the biggest leap. Photorealism and detail are pushed even further. Things like skin textures, reflections, fine details in macro or mechanical shots are noticeably sharper and more realistic. The Fisherman and the Clockwork were great examples. Artistic style interpretation is more nuanced and accurate. Whether it's Impressionist texture, Ghibli atmosphere, or comic book inks, V7 seems to capture the specific essence of the requested style more effectively. Overall coherence and rendering quality seem improved. Complex effects like fire, particles, motion blur, and challenging materials like ice look more convincing and better integrated. Of course, these are based on these specific generations, and results can always vary. But the trend across these 20 diverse prompts clearly points towards V7 being a powerful evolution, making it easier to get exactly what you want, with higher fidelity and better understanding. But what do you think? Looking at these comparisons, what differences jumped out at you? Did you prefer V6 on any of them? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Seriously, I want to hear what jumps out to your eyes. Alright, if you found this deep dive comparison into Midjourney V6 versus V7 useful, or just plain cool, do me a solid and smash that like button. It really helps the channel out. And if you want more videos exploring the latest AI image generation, crazy new tech and all that good stuff, make sure you subscribe to Mr. Lemon. And ring that notification bell so you'll never miss another Mr. Lemon video. Share this video with anyone else who's obsessed with Midjourney or AI art. Let's get their take on the V7 changes too. Thanks for watching everyone. Keep experimenting, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.